My grandparents were workers in a factory. My parents were workers in a factory and I was a worker in the same factory for 7 years. I remember that in our time, I was 58 years old, and at the time everyone went to work at 14 years old, and nobody died either.
It was normal, right?
I see many parents complaining, including business owners. They say, "Hey, I wanted to make my son a waiter, wait tables, but he can't. If someone comes, an inspector here, he finds me." Back in the day, no one died from working.
That's it. It's also wrong.
So my dad, I've always been very studious. I'm dyslexic, right? Dyslexic is difficulty learning to read in the early years.
You too?
Yes, I have a lot of difficulty reading.
Me too. Wow, very difficult. When the teacher said that, Luciano continued reading.
I was already going to the Portuguese class shaking.
I was already bad for Portuguese class. I was always terrible at Portuguese and great at math.
It's adding and multiplying.
It is dividing and diminishing.
I didn't learn anything.
Now, I was terrible at Portuguese. And I didn't understand, because if I was good at math, and I wasn't stupid, why when I went to Portuguese class, it made me feel bad. Motherfucker, there's Portuguese class. And then the teacher, I think in 5th grade, 6th grade, the teacher said, "You don't continue reading."
Damn, I wasn't going to.
Oh, and my other friends reading the delay, the bureaucracy. I would start stuttering, people would start laughing. And then I didn't understand. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? And I started studying at home. I started reading comics at the time, right?
Book. Everything that existed, newspaper, everything.
I'm going to try to learn to read so I don't embarrass myself. And that was until I was 12 years old. So I always say, right? I learned to read only when I was 12 years old. Imagine if I had learned at 7 years old, right?
It was even better, right?
It was even better. Our Lady, who is dyslexic, who has a dyslexic child, he is not stupid, he is not naughty, he learns differently. And thanks to God, I later learned and such. I left working class parents. I started in a factory too.
What did the factory do?
Fabric factory. Renault factory. A fabric factory hundreds of years old. Everyone back in Bruxelles worked at the Renault factory.
It exists today, does it?
I bought the factory.
Did you buy?
Oh, fuck.
Cool. Yeah. And then, after 3 years of working on the expedition, my manager calls me and says, "Luciano, I was called there even as a Ligeriano there too. I ran here, ran there. I never stopped. I never stopped to talk. I ran on the stairs, always working fast." Then one day he called me, my manager, and said, "Luciano, you're too good to stay here. I got you a sales job on the other side. Don't want to go there?" Said, "Whore, I'm going there." There I found myself. To this day I am a salesman. I love people, I love selling, right? And then I set up Haven with just one collaborator the size of this room here. Your room here is the size of my shop that I started.
Damn.
What were you thinking when you created the van? I'm talking like that. I'm not talking about what you were going to sell, no. I'm talking. Because this van has a whole identity, right? Did that come later? Didn't come to that first store?
No. The store is in a neighborhood, right? By the way, before starting the van, as I was a salesman, I started to sell everything that was manufactured in the store, in the company, which was a big company with 5,000 employees. And also the board car, the scrap metal, everything Renault had at the time, I sold. I'm with a director who's releasing a book next week. He's in his 80s, and he tells a story that happened in the book. He had a Galaxy. Do you remember the Galaxy? A car, Galaxy. For example, in Brazil there were 5, 6 cars. A Galaxy, an Opel, a Combi, and a Beetle.
Sure.
Right?
Huh?
And at the time, directors had a Galaxy.
Huh?
And then when he bought another Galaxy, there was a Galaxy left over to sell. And who? They called Luciano to sell the Galaxy. And then I knew there was a guy in Brusque who had a Galaxy, but it didn't have air conditioning.
I said, hey, I'm going to win twice here.
I said to the guy's owner, let's sell the air conditioner, which is worth a fortune, and then we'll sell the Galaxy.
And we did it.
I fixed it, sold it too. The guy was really fat. Delmo Rosens, who I never forget, from Brusque, really fat. So I sold the air conditioner. I took the air conditioner out. I sold the air conditioner, almost the price of the Galaxy, and then I sold the Galaxy. It was a success. To this day I don't forget that. So, after that, I first set up towel weaving in 1984, at the age of 22.
So cool.
22 years old.
And then I set up the plant.
Why did you have this business of setting up a company? Because your father and mother were factory workers, did they have something to set up a business in them?
No, and my father used to say, Luciano, I started from 7 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, and my father worked from 5:30. And then before I went to the office where I worked, I passed by the place where my father worked, which was a basement. He worked 42 years in a basement, my father. And then I said, Dad, now I'm going to set up a company for myself. He said, are you studying, Luciano? I've been here all my life as a worker. You're already in that beautiful office over there. Stay there. Your job is good. Look at Dad. Dad spent his whole life here. If not Dad, I'm going to set up a business for myself.
But where did you get it? Why did you want to ride this?
I think feeling. How did you set up this business here?
I saw the gringos doing it.
Oh, it's the same, right?
Knowledge.
Conhecimento.
I say knowledge is worth more than a degree.
It's not that.
Total.
It's not the college that will do it. It's your knowledge, your willpower. And I said, Dad, I'm going to put together a third one and it's going to work. Then I set up a third one. Then I took my father out of the factory and put me to work with me.
What a time. Oh, that must have been a hell of a day. But are you already paying him a salary, or did he go on a bet?
No. I got a little better, right?
Oh, I understand.
Because in the beginning, I even talked today about being an entrepreneur, right? You guys, I heard that here you too when you started, it's a loss. You don't have time to work, you don't have a day to work, you don't pay us overtime, and many times you lose money, and many times you go broke and lose everything you had.
And truth.
So as I had come to 2 years old, I'm going to try.
Não tinha.
I didn't have a boyfriend. I hadn't married yet.
And the tessellation went really well. I got my dad out of the factory. And then 2 years later I built the van.
908.
1986, age 24. Me and Vandalai, Haven, Hang and Vandalai. A partner I had for 5 years.
I understood. But what happened to tessellation?
She grew up.
You sold?
Tesselage I worked for up to 90-something, about 10 years.
Having the van alone.
Having together, right, and then I sold tissellage.
Got it.
Who is that partner of yours at the beginning?
Vandalay.
Era
It was a sales supervisor who worked with me at Renault.
I understood.
Then we stayed together for 5 years. We separated. He has his company today and the van continues. If you could go back in time and find yourself 20 years old, what would be the main piece of advice you would give that would help you on your journey?
Eu só me arrependo do que eu não fiz.
I only regret what I didn't do. Fear holds us back. The fear. I say the following. One of the main important things in the life of an entrepreneur, businessman, or anyone is courage. Courage is everything. A guy, when he has courage, goes forward, does anything, goes wrong, goes back. I think many times I could have gone and I didn't. And when I went, it worked, I went ahead. And when it went wrong, I learned.
Então,
Have you ever gone bankrupt?
No.
Not washed, but on some other project?
No. I started. I had a dye shop, a weaving shop,
tu fui tentando.
I had a bar, a success, a bar, which is more than I had. I started a canteen at school when I was 12 years old, selling biscuits.
So you already had this entrepreneurial song?
No, I think I've been talking a lot about this subject here. Very cool. A person has to have self-esteem and you have to believe in them. When you do it and you get it right, your self-esteem grows and yourself starts believing in you more, and then you have the courage to do it. And sometimes it goes wrong, and sometimes I say like this: my God, I passed the yellow light. My God, I passed the red light, and in a little while you hit it again and you will not grow. It will not be big if you don't bet big. I have a saying that goes, start small and dream big, dream big, dream big, dream big, dream big, and go after your goal. You have an incredible capacity for achievement, but you have to believe in yourself. It doesn't matter where you were born. It doesn't matter where you studied. What matters is what you want to be in your life. Go up, go to the deck, work hard, and you will succeed. Brazilians are great. Most people I see started from scratch. I started what it is. Today I still assist a guy who had an accident, lost everything he had, lost his job, lost his car, had to compensate a bite, the person who died. Then he went to work as a mason, as a construction worker, and then he saw the guy selling popsicles. He said, I'm going to be a popsicle salesman, which gives more than I have here. Today he has 20 employees selling popsicles.
So cool.
Isn't that cool? How many stories like this do I know? Everyone has the ability to reinvent themselves. People who broke and started their lives all over again, and today they are fine again. They cannot give up. They cannot settle down. They cannot keep crying, regretting. Tomorrow will be better. Tomorrow will be better. Tomorrow, and one day it will be better. And that? It is that, yes.
Just for the deck. Is there more there? 10% Ava is in the process of listing on the stock exchange. Faria Lima wants to know, will the company code on the stock exchange be old 3?
Look, I still don't know if I'm going to the stock market, okay? As I told you here, the van is in such a good situation that we can choose the path we are going to take. And we will only take a path from the moment that is interesting for the van and for me. Because the van is my dream, the van has only one owner. It has to be good for society, for the company, and for me, because I have already worked 35 years in that company. I must stay there until Jesus calls me. If Jesus calls me at 100 years old, I'll be in the van. I love what I do, so it's no use having money in the bank and being unhappy.
Verdade.
Right? Money is not everything. Money is not everything. There's a Portuguese saying that I think is really cool. I love phrases. I told you, right? That to keep money in the bank is to be happily impoverished. Many people. Good one there? Because people think that having money in the bank makes the guy happy, but you're caught between a guy who just keeps his money in the bank and a guy who invests. Buy, sell, make a deal here. Sometimes it passes. I made a wrong deal. I lost and such. This guy will soon have 100 and this guy will have 20, you know? So, look, the important thing for me today is my happiness. My happiness today for me is to be healthy. Money for me doesn't matter anymore. You live with little. You live with little.
How much do you spend per month?
No, I can't tell you, right?
Why? But I live with little. I'll tell you, it's little.
It's too little.
For me.
No, for those who have millions.
I help a lot of people. Lucas Sabiso, he pays the bills there. My secretary is there. I help a lot of people. I help. There's a guy there who I help a lot of people, okay? Now, for me, I don't change. I'm very simple. Sometimes I'm dying to eat pirao with sausage, rice with egg, fried banana. My thing is, in the morning it's bread with fried bananas. You know, you don't spend money. If you manage to make a house, if you have a car, if you have a family, that's enough. My father used to say, son, my life hasn't changed from where we used to live and where we live today.
They're not changed. The important thing in people's lives is happiness.